I am Carol Hunstein. I did run for re-election to the Georgia Supreme Court this last time. Nonpartisan race, statewide. And it was, needless to say, a very interesting experience. I've been on the bench 22 years, 8 years on the DeKalb County Superior Court bench, and then 14 years on the Georgia Supreme Court, and I had had no opposition. This was the first time that I had had opposition, and it was, even though I sort of knew it was coming because I'd heard rumors, it was still a surprise to me. I had $125,000 in the bank before qualifying, and I thought, shoot, they'll go away and leave me alone. Boy, was I naive, you know? Basically, this is a national movement. It's national. And they target state Supreme Court justices because they want to put their judges on the bench who are business friendly and will support tort reform, whether it's constitutional or not. Plain and simple. That's the bottom line. I had heard about a year out from qualifying that an insurance company was looking for someone to run against me. I knew the judge who was their first choice, and when I found out that she had said no, well, I called her up and I said, well, I'd really like for you to be one of my supporters. Bottom line is this. The opponent that they got to run against me was choice number 35. Seriously. Choice number 35. He didn't even live in Georgia. He had been living in D.C., was part of Homeland Security. He was the fellow who testified in front of the Senate committee that it was perfectly legal for the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay to be kept in perpetuity with no hearing and no lawyer. So he decided at the end of May he was going to come down here and run against me, and he had been assured by a lot of people that he would have plenty of money. And he was very heavily supported by Bernie Marcus and others in the business community. He managed, the first out of the chute, the first thing he said was, and as I said, this is a nonpartisan position. First thing he said was, I'm the Republican, she's the Democrat, she's the liberal, because those sort of go together, don't they? Liberal, Democrat, and Republican and conservative. So he was the Republican and he was the conservative, and I was the liberal, Democrat, activist judge, legislating from the bench. And of course they didn't use any kind of business cases because they would have had a hard time doing that. But they thought they could use criminal cases against me. And so he started reading up on all my criminal cases and began to criticize them. That sort of backfired on him too, because I wound up having 22 elected district attorneys publicly support me. But this is the same strategy that they have used across the United States, and they have been very successful. This is the first time that they have lost. The first time. And it's not so much me, but it is a lot of the people here in this room who said they were putting up my yard signs, they were passing out my materials, and I just had a lot of support. And I really tried for bipartisan support, and I think that's important. It is a nonpartisan position. I don't make policy. I'm bound by the law. I don't represent the people. I represent the law. And if judges start representing people, then this country is in big trouble. So I'm bound by the law. That has been my goal since I became a judge in DeKalb County in 1984. That was a promise that I made then, that I would be fair and impartial, treat everyone with dignity and respect, and abide by the rule of law, and nothing else. Well, as the campaign got geared up, not only did I have the opponent, but I also had the National Republican Party, a lot of the very, very important Republicans, state Republicans, including Governor Perdue. My opponent went on the 40-city tour with Governor Perdue, and there were a lot of other Republicans that were really out in front supporting him. But there was also the National Chamber of Commerce and at least some parts of the State Chamber of Commerce that were involved. There was also what's known as a political action group. It was called, and I just love these names, the Safety and Prosperity Coalition. Well, whose safety and whose prosperity are they protecting? And as it turns out, it was the insurance companies, because right off the bat, Mag Mutual, I think, gave them $100,000. The Independent Insurance Agents of Georgia gave them $50,000. Now, where the Independent Insurance Agents of Georgia got it, I'm not sure, and anyone who knows anything about that organization is sort of wondering too. But there was also a contribution of $1.3 million to safety and prosperity. $1.3 million from the American Justice Partnership. Right? Which is, I don't know. And when they were asked by the news people, well, who are your contributors? Where did you get this $1.3 million to contribute to safety and prosperity? And they said, well, we're not going to tell you. And we don't have to tell you. We want to protect our contributors so that nothing is held against them. And they never did say where they got that money from. I will tell you, though, that Bernie Marcus was one of the founders of the American Justice Partnership. Needless to say, I don't shop at Home Depot anymore. I'm a Lowe's fan. You may have seen the commercial where basically it just sort of says, well, he's never tried a case. His mother had to sue him to get money back that he owed her. And his sister said she threatened to kill him. Oh, he threatened to kill her when she was 8.5 months pregnant. And that was the commercial. And I have to tell you, it was devastating for him, because no one other than his wife and the sister and her attorney over in Alabama knew about that. And so his campaign team, they were completely surprised and started defending. Now, I'm really a novice politically, but I've been told that once you're defending, you're losing. And that's what he had to start doing, was defending. That ad was so effective that Alan Crow got, I think it's called the Polly Award. It was declared to be the most effective down-ballot race commercial in the United States last elective season. So that's like the Oscars, of political commercials. He really did a great job. I mean, they did everything they could. I actually, on my phone, I got a robocall from Ashcroft. Which, of course, being the kind of person I am, I immediately took it down to White Dog Studios, had them put it on a CD, and took it to certain radio stations where I knew the audience would not appreciate Ashcroft supporting my opponent.